I feel like that's somebody. Is that somebody's catchphrase? Was that a Conan thing for a bit? There was. Do you remember AOL Instant Messenger? We're dating ourselves, but I
Of
know
course
you
I
do.
do.
I know you
Yeah,
do.
of course I do.
You can have your own like
I
custom.
can hear the sound.
Yeah,
Boing.
but you could have your own sounds. I would have a Conan suite of sounds, where
Oh
whenever I
wow.
logged in, it would just go "Greetings, nerds."
Oh
That's
jeez.
that's what I remember. Hi guys, this is not a late '90s, early 2000s nostalgia podcast, although
It could be.
it very much could be. Palling around for that one. I'm sure we've tackled a lot of those. This is Pals Pulls. And right now, we're looking a little light, and I don't mean in skin tone, but right now, it's just. Right now, it's just Kale and me. I'm Tyler. Hello. How's it
Oh,
going?
for once, I'm actually in the majority here.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
We've got a white person and a
For what the white guy says, for once I'm in the majority.
here.
For
Here.
okay, all right, fine, fair, fair. It's about what 75% of the show right now. Hi
That's right.
Zachary in the chat. How's it going? So yeah, I'm Tyler and Kale's here.
What's up, hot dogs?
So Marco should be joining us at any moment now. The boot of corporate life is pressing ever so tighter on his poor little cranium.
Yep.
But that's what he gets. How dare he try to have money to feed himself and his cat?
Listen, I haven't figured out how to have money, and I've been living just fine.
You know what? Fair. He has no excuse. No excuse. And it's always good because this always happens like last minute for him. So like he'll do all
Yeah,
the work for the show. Dude's
drives me
ready.
nuts, man.
He's ready for it. But what are we reading for the show, Cal? Why am
It's
I asking
me.
you? I have it ready. Because this week we're reading Uncanny Avengers #1. This is by Jonathan Hickman. Oh, Hickman is credited on this? I don't know why he's credited on this website. Never mind. It's Jerry Duggan and Javier Garron. Colors
It's
by.
the one God's page at the very end.
That's probably why he's credited on this website. Got it. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Colors by Maury Hollowell. Letters by Travis Lanham. We're checking out Alpha Flight. This is going to be an X-Men heavy episode, fellas. Which, welcome to the Comics Pals, I guess.
Yep, it
Welcome
sure
to
is.
Marvel Comics, I guess. Alpha Flight #1. This is by Ed Brisson. Art by Scott Godlewski. Colors by Matt Milla. Letters by Travis Lanham as well. We're checking out the listener pick this week. You can always vote on YouTube's community tab for the listener pick every Friday. This week we had Dark X-Men #1. This one by writer Steve Fox, art by Jonas Scharf, colors by Frank Martin, letters by Clayton Cowles. We're also checking out the Cull #1. So we had a little bit of a preview and a discussion about this when we had writer Kelly Thompson on the show a couple months back. Months?
It was, yeah,
Yeah,
a
I
couple
think
of
so.
months
Yeah,
now.
months. Kelly Thompson talked about this, and this is colored and drawn by Mattia Deulis, with letters by Hassan Otsmain Ilau. Ooh boy, I tried. And then Batman and Superman: World's Finest #18. This is by Mark Waid, art by Travis Moore, colors by Tamara Bonvillain, and letters by Steve Wands. I always want to pronounce that Tamara Bonvillain.
Bavillon. Yeah, I do.
feel
I
like
do
that's
the
a better
exact
way
same.
of doing that. That's like whenever I see the word chandelier, I have to pronounce it chandelier.
Andolier.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm sure you and I think that for the same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, welcome to Pals Pulse. But before we dissect these funny books, what are some good names for comic books? Funny books, floppies, singles.
I
Man,
don't know.
you talked about doing improv on the show.
I know. Sequentials.
We'll work on it. Yes, and. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/thecomicspals, where every week one of us weirdos does a newsletter about whatever we decide to talk about that week. It doesn't necessarily need to be comic books. I know Kale and I have tackled non-comics things. Marco is still doing Swamp Things if you want to check out his muck hole.
And there's no end in sight.
At least there is for this iteration of his newsletter. I think it's the penultimate issue of it. But
Wow.
he could talk. He'd be able to talk about that if he was here. But otherwise, I know Kale, you've done scripts on there. I've done
Yeah.
full-on videos. Sean has done these kind of longer essays. So a lot of bang for your buck there.
I did a whole ass radio show,
Yeah, you
produced and
did.
everything
Yeah, yeah.
once.
And you can listen to Palin Around, which is our other show exclusive for Patreon, where we just talk about whatever the hell we want. There will be one coming out tomorrow where Kale
Oh,
reveals
it's
he's a
that
bad
one.
person.
Great.
That'll be tomorrow. Yeah. So if you want to
If
hear,
you if you want to hear if you want to hear about my true villain moment, sign up to the Patreon.
yeah, yeah. When I was editing that one, it was hyped up to be something horrible, and I thought it would be horrible,
I
but
mean,
it
it's not
was
great.
in a different way. It ain't good. It ain't good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, there probably was a crime committed.
Oh no, there was. There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
There's
UK law, but I'm pretty sure there was a crime committed. But speaking of crimes committed, the crime of Orcus against mutant kind in Uncanny Avengers #1. Look at that segue. I'm a pro at this. This is by the aforementioned Gary Duggan, art by Javier Garron, colors by Maury Hollowell, letters by Travis Lanham with a little Hickman Gods backup in the back there. So this
what a backup it
is,
was.
I guess this is kind of the real. This and X-Men, I feel, are the real kind of pillars for this Fall of X storyline going forward, and both of them written by Jerry Duggan. So obviously,
That'll be why. Yeah.
and this is Jerry Duggan's second go around on the Uncanny Avengers. He did some Uncanny Avengers stuff back when it wasn't Krakoa and stuff like that.
Did he?
So yeah. That's why the Deadpool's in here. That was big in his thing. Pre-Secret Empire, which they directly reference in this book too. This was, I actually enjoyed this. And it was weird for me. I really like Javier Garron as an artist. I think his stuff on Jason Aaron's Avengers towards the last arc, I believe, the huge big culmination multiversal arc that was storyline wise like somebody vomited on it, but it was good looking vomit. I think he really knocked it out of the park on that. And I think this allowed him to be a little more subdued because he's not drawing 1,000 characters per page. He kind of actually gets to work with angles here, and I think the angles and the way he kind of directs the shot of what he draws is really interesting in this book, and I actually really enjoy this issue for it.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints about the art. I think the art, is
Have some
incredible.
pages of it here too.
But I fell asleep in this issue. This was the first thing I read. And I read it this morning, and it did not. I had to take a second nap at about 10:45.
What are you, a hobbit? No, you did live in New Zealand for a bit, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so wordy. Everyone
It
sounded the
feels
same
long,
to me.
right?
Yeah, it felt so long.
It's showing as 36 pages, and I'm really bad at remembering what a normal comic. Normal comics like 28.
2022. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a little oversized. But definitely, I felt the length on this one. I enjoyed it because I liked what they were doing here. Even though it's starting to feel a little bit, Superhuman Registration Act, kind of Civil War, like the heroes are underground and they're trying to save their people. And I'm like, guys, we've kind of been here before. But I think the characters they chose for this are good. There's some characters I think who haven't had a spotlight on them in a while that I'm really interested about. Specifically like Quicksilver and Quanon, who is Psylocke. I do like them as characters, so it's cool to see them kind of get the spotlight.
Yeah, it's cool to see Quicksilver because you don't ever get to see him basically in anything.
Yeah.
I just don't like Jerry Duggan's voice for anything. I just don't like Jerry Duggan. And this just didn't do anything for me. The Hellfire Gala was already a bust.
Yeah, I was surprised you guys didn't like that one, to be honest. I missed that show that week.
What?
I enjoy. I agree. There was a lot on the page, but I thought the art of that issue was phenomenal, and that alone saved it. Put Chris
No, it
Anka on a
didn't.
book and Russell Dauterman on a book. I don't care.
Well, you're the problem.
I am the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. That's a Taylor Swift reference, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. I'm hip.
Yeah, I just I don't enjoy coming here to say stuff like this, but there's nothing here for me.
Interesting.
I barely know who Captain Krakoa is and what the whole situation there is. I sort of know, but I've completely avoided X-Men up till now. Um,
Dan in the chat says, "Well, Jerry Duggan doesn't like you either." So,
good, good. Stay
so
away from me.
do we? A couple things here.
Yeah,
Jerry Duggan kind of started his tenure at Marvel with the Marvel Now Deadpool book with
yeah.
Brian Posehn. So this is him kind of coming back to Deadpool, and he hasn't really touched Deadpool in a while. I really like Jerry Duggan's Deadpool. There's a real heartwarming aspect to his Deadpool, especially in his previous Uncanny Avengers run, where like the Steve Rogers Deadpool dynamic should
Yeah.
not work as well as it does.
Yeah, I recall that. Yeah.
Like there is few people that Steve trusts like with anything, and Deadpool is strangely one of them. And that started from like one arc in Deadpool, then it went into Uncanny Avengers. So I like a return to that, and I like how Steve is trying to mend his relationship with Deadpool in this after what happened in Secret Empire, because he really fake Steve really screwed over Deadpool.
Oh, jeez.
But I also think Captain Krakoa, since we don't know who that is, it was Cyclops previously,
Was Cyclops?
but my
right?
boy's dead right now, so he's
Right.
doing typical Cyclops things. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's being tortured somewhere. That's what he's being.
Dying.
Yeah, but I'm 90% sure that this Captain Krakoa is Secret Empire Steve Rogers. I think
Interesting.
I think the fact that he explicitly was looking for the Fenris twins, Baron von Strucker's kids, it
I was
feels
curious
very
about that,
Hydra
yeah.
to me. And like out of all the big organizations that are in Orcus right now, you got AIM, you got a little bit of pretty much all the big ones there. There's no Hydra, and Hydra's kind of been off the board since Secret Empire. So I think that's who it is, because there's even that one bit where I forget who was fighting Captain Krakoa, but somebody was fighting him. It's like, oh wait, no, he's got superpowers. This dude,
Yeah.
he's got super strength. So I'm pretty sure it's Secret Empire Steve, which Hydra Cap coming back would be controversial.
Not at this point.
On Twitter, it will be for about a week.
No. Maybe because it's dumb and played out, but
I wasn't on the show when Secret Empire was coming out, so I don't remember the gauge of things at the time.
Geez, that was a long time ago.
It was. I think I
don't-
was doing a different show at that point.
Yeah. We didn't we weren't doing reviews at that point.
No.
I think Sean was the only one that was reading it. We talked about the Fallout and stuff, but I guess I could see the Hydra Cap coming back as a bit of a tie-in to the Madeline Pryor stuff in Dark X-Men.
Sure.
To sort of go along with that
Yeah,
clone.
I see. Because the Fenris twins also showed up briefly in a panel of Dark X-Men, which we'll talk about.
Did they?
Yeah, in the backup story.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
interesting.
I wish I could say this was for me. The art was great, but this is a hard pass for me.
I have one page up here of Ben Urich at the Daily Bugle, which is
Yeah.
this angle of him looking upwards, and he looks worried, and you can see the shading of the shadows of the window blinds in him. That is just
Yeah.
insanely good. I really enjoyed the art of this, and I think if you're a Javier Garrón fan, or if you've been sleeping on him for a bit, I think I remember first seeing his stuff in like was it Saladin Ahmed's Miles Morales? I think might have been where I first saw him. but it's good stuff in my opinion. Story, I'm sure it depends on whether or not you like what's going on in Fall of X, but I think the art's kind of indisputable. But
You could dispute it. Yep.
everything's disputable. Let's talk about the next book, though. Let's talk about Alpha Flight, #1. So this is by Ed Brisson, art by Scott Godlewski, colors by Matt Milla, and letters by Travis Lanham. Kel, what is your familiarity or history with Alpha Flight?
0, my man. I
Really?
know of them. I respect them as it's a bit like my history with what is it, like Justice League Detroit.
They do have a very similar vibe, yeah.
It's
And I said similar vibe on purpose.
yeah. I know they're a thing, and I respect them from a distance, but I probably won't be picking up a book.
Sure, and to be fair, there aren't many in the year 2023. There aren't many Alpha Flight runs that you can check out. Though they might show up in a miniseries here or there, or they might show up. They showed up in Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. They were pretty prominent, or at least half of them were pretty prominent side characters throughout that run.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they are. They're kind of bit side players, So when Fall of X was announced, I was like, oh, Alpha Flight's getting a new book. I was like, why the hell is that a thing?
Yeah. Do you remember when this was first announced? Was it announced for Fall of X?
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was part of that, which was confusing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually getting into the book, and once I realized it was Ed Brisson, who I really enjoy, I like Ed Brisson as a character, and I'm familiar with Scott Godlewski's art. I was like, you know what? It's a decent team. Let's check it out. And
art's incredible.
yeah, the art's very, very modern kind of comic book art. And I don't mean that in a real negative way, but it does look, influenced by like anime and stuff like that. Like there's kind of this look to it.
Very Dan Mora and like
Yeah.
Yep. Esque.
And as I read this, I was like, I like the characters. I like the dynamic that these guys have, but it felt a little by the book in terms of like that turn at the end. I saw that page 1.
Completely telegraphed.
Yeah. So that kind of was a bit of a knock for me. It was almost like so telegraphed at the beginning that by the time it does, like the turn still hasn't happened yet at the end, I'm like, are they really making these characters bad? So it's almost too telegraphed to the point where then they tricked me. I kind of fell back into it.
Yeah.
And then they do the obvious move where, spoiler, Alpha Flight's good, it's not much of a spoiler, but so this, and again, this is where I feel like this whole Fall of X thing feels very Civil War to me. Without the heroes fighting each other. It's heroes versus government, which almost feels antiquated at this point, especially when the whole in Uncanny Avengers, Quicksilver is, he's running mutants to the Canadian border to free them. And then meanwhile, we get to Alpha Flight, and out in Canada's like, nah, we're just doing the same thing as the U.S.
Yeah.
So like there was a bit of like continuity discrepancy there. I thought this was a fine book.
Is the government hunting mutants? They're hunting mutants through Orcus.
Through Orcus. Orcus is working with the government to hunt mutants to pretty much deport them to
Mexico.
Araco, essentially. Yeah.
Oh. Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Great. I don't know if you saw Marco's trying to get in a chat.
Oh, he's trying to get it. Okay, yeah.
Maybe he'll have something better to say.
I'll add him to this.
I just, man, this story's doing nothing for me. This overall.
Fall of X overall?
Yeah.
Hey, Marco. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
We're talking about Alpha Flight.
Ooh,
where Kale does not have much to say.
Oh, well.
Do you have more to say about a book that we read, Marco?
I have things to say about this group of books, but I'll save it until after we do Dark X-Men.
Okay.
I had fun with Alpha Flight. I like the characters in general.
Okay,
typically.
I was gonna ask, like, out of all of us, even though you're not a big, superhero kind of guy, I feel like you would enjoy Alpha Flight the most.
Yeah, they're fun. I like the gimmick when they get introduced in X-Men, like the Claremont stuff, or at least that's where I found first.
That's where they
came
first appeared.
across them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that stuff's a lot of fun, and seeing them here at a different capacity with a slightly different lineup isn't bad.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of a couple versions of Alpha Flight. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this kind of dual purpose they're serving, like one for the government, kind of like at a front, but then in the back, as it gets revealed, they're still saving mutants to some degree. So they're kind of trying to play both sides of it, and I'm sure that's going to blow up in their face, which is probably where the story part's going to come. I had fun.
Yeah, I think it's like a fine comic, but I think, I think it was a Comics Week that just wrote an article about it that I shared in the Discord, where like a lot of the Marvel comics right now are like they're fine. So this
Yeah.
kind of feels a par for the course for Marvel, which at this point is not a good thing. None of the books have real heat out there.
The ones this week?
One of them that did, just ended, which I'll talk about later in the show.
Damn, 3 of them had heat for me, man.
This week? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Uncanny Avengers while you're here, since you missed that?
We
Oh.
had 3 Marvel books, so
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that one. That one was probably I think that was probably my book of the week, honestly.
Uncanny Avengers, okay.
It was well paced. I like the mix of characters. I like the approach that we had with Cap kind of coming in and being like, no, I'm gonna come and wrangle these people, and there's this tension there, obviously because of the stuff coming out of the Hellfire Gala, and so him being the person to go, no, I'm here to help. I believe that, and then we got the whatchamacallit, somebody did a scan of his mind. Is like, no, he's telling the truth. It's like, yeah, it's Captain America. That kind of makes sense. That tracks. Why is he gonna lie?
He can't lie. He's like Abraham Lincoln. Or was
Yeah.
that George Washington? One of them.
it's George Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mix of characters as well. Really enjoyed it. I like seeing those. Psylocke's a lot of fun. Yeah, and then pinning them at the end with this new liberation thing that's
New
led
Liberation
by
Front, yeah.
Blob and whatnot. I was like, yo, that's
They're
cool.
doing my boy Blob dirty.
What? Why?
That guy, that was like the tiki bar bartender. Like I had love for him, and now he's just a dummy again. I'm like, Blob, you're not listening to the right people again. But I get it. It's fine. Green Lagoon, my ass, I guess. But
Who? This Andrea and Andreas. No idea what that was about.
they're the Von Strucker kids. So if you ever read, they were swordsmen at one point. Andreas von Strucker was swordsman in Warren Ellis's Thunderbolts run, and his sister was dead at the time, so he had her skin wrapped around the sword, so that whenever they're touching skin to skin contact, they can do powers. Yes, it's incestuous.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that news for Cal? You didn't know that either. You know
Guess
Marvel's
not.
history with incestuous characters.
I mean, I know a little bit about that, but that one's new.
Yeah, that's their mutant gift is incest. Unfortunately, it's powerful incest. Let's not talk to Claremont about that one. Actually, I don't think that's a Claremont creation, but whatever. Let's jump into the last X-Men book that we're talking about this week with Dark X-Men #1.
Just quickly, Alpha Flight. It was fun. For a taste of something, new, sort of unfamiliar.
I
guess it's a pickup if you're looking for a cool X-Men book right now.
Yeah.
It was like a saltine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Like no real flavor, but I can eat it. I'm not gonna eat a whole bunch of them.
And you know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. Yeah. It is reliable.
Yeah. Well,
Just pair that with a ginger ale, and I'm good. That's a Puerto Rican cure-all. But
Yo.
in the green Keebler elf tin, you got to get that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I would. Uncanny Avengers was a pull for me. I forgot we did this. And Alpha Flight was kind of a pass for me.
What?
Yeah.
I said pass for Uncanny Avengers.
What?
Hesitant pull for Alpha Flight.
Okay.
Dang.
It's a double pull for you, isn't
Hard pull for Uncanny Avengers.
Ooh, easy.
it? Well,
Alpha Flight definitely a pull. I think this is a good setup issue. They lay out everything you need to know, and from here on we kind of understand the status quo, and so let's jump into the next issue. I had a good time with it. And this one, Dark X-Men, so close to being the pick. It was between this and Uncanny Avengers.
Interesting. So let's talk about Dark X-Men, which was the listener pick. This is Dark X-Men #1, with written by Steve Fox, art by Jonas Scharf, colors by Frank Martin, letters by Clayton Cowles. I am a sucker for a villain team book, especially books like this where I feel like nobody is safe. The whole resurrection protocols aren't a thing right now. So any of these guys can just get offed at any moment, which we kind of see here towards this. We'll see what issue 2 lies. So I like that, even though this is kind of a sausage party. At least being led by Madeline Pryor.
Heyo.
So it's cool to see that. I really, really enjoyed the Jonas Scharf art. I think that with Frank Martin has a thing for the color red that just works. His stuff with it was Donny Cates' Venom and Absolute Carnage and all that. He just understands the tones of red that just, I love the way Frank Martin colors things sometimes. It just looks good. And all of it's a little understated. It's never bright colors. It's almost realistic in the tone, but not because it's a superhero comic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just a big Frank Martin fan when it comes to colors. And I think the really, really weird cast of characters here is something that I enjoy. Maggot is on this team. I'm in.
That's cool.
I actually really enjoy this. Out of the 3 books, this was my favorite.
Yeah, this was another strong, I think, addition this week. Starting as a #1, again, well paced. I was gonna call out the art. Just feels there's this looseness to some of the form, but the lines are really tight, if that makes sense. The inking around it is really tight, and I found that to be super interesting. It almost felt like a little bit like Robert Hack in Chilling Adventures, where there's this mood that's getting brought up, and I feel like there's a good story here, a good cast of characters who are relatively complex, and I really liked this relationship between Madeline Pryor and Havoc. That as a way to
You mean
focus.
simp? We're not on Twitch anymore. You mean a simp relationship? Havoc is the ultimate simp.
Hey,
and
don't do my man like that.
Self-report. I understand.
Hey, listen, Madeline Pryor comes knocking on my door.
I get it. I get it.
I'm simping too.
I get it. This guy will wear weird demon lingerie for his lady. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's Kale's reveal. Yeah. I can simp. I can do it.
Hey, listen. Madeline Pryor says jump. I say how high.
Yeah.
That's right.
Listen, these 3 books were the exact same for me. They were all set up. They were all gather your teams. They were all, we're going to have one fight so we can entice everybody in.
Yeah.
And here's your characters and let's introduce everybody. And it's all the same. It's all the
fast
same.
food.
What?
It's less than fast food.
What?
Oh, that's
you
rough.
grouch.
That's like White Castle.
I like White Castle. Damn, maybe that's why we're having this issue right now.
It's just why do we have to pick 3 #1s from the same line?
Hey, the listeners picked this one, okay? The other option was X-Men Red.
Listen, maybe
X-Men
sometimes we
Red
should stop listening to them.
Nah, I like this one. This was cool.
I'm
thought
saying
this was fun. I
sometimes,
thought this was fun.
maybe sometimes a dictatorship has its benefits. That's all
Whoa,
I'm saying.
whoa, hey, whoa, go to Italy with that.
Yeah, man, these 3 books for me it felt like the same formula 3 times. I did not have a good time.
I don't disagree. I think the formula of things is the same. I think the art was kind of widely different in each of them. So you got different flavors there. But you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It was team setup book, big fight in the middle, little cliffhanger at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them happening the same week. Like, I don't know. There are more weeks in the month. Maybe you could have spaced these out a little more. Who knows? But I don't disagree.
Isn't this line going for a while? Like,
It is the fall of X, not just because the mutants fell, but also because it's all of the fall.
Right,
Yeah.
the fallout from all that stuff. But like, what do you? What's the expectation to differentiate for a team book then? Like, you have to have those elements, right? Those are the ingredients to the soup. Like, why are you gonna get mad at that?
I mean, I'm not. Okay, I'm not mad at the books. I'm mad at the way we read them.
I can see the line being a problem.
Yeah.
Like, if you know, if whoever's planning these out knows these books are very similar in structure, all coming out the same day, is like, all right, well, that just proves that Marvel's kind of not really. They're firing on like one cylinder. I don't know how cars work. I don't know if that expression makes any sense, but
Sort of. But like, yeah, three team books all at once, all have the same formula, all have the same structure. It's hard for me to say that I got anything out of these. And I think admittedly, there's quite a bit of bias here because I don't care for what came out of Hellfire Gala.
Sure.
I didn't understand it. I barely understand what the subject of each issue is telling me, even though all 3 of them had to tell me over and over and over again.
yeah.
It just, I don't know, this situation just didn't work.
Okay. All right.
And I think your argument against that, Marco, is very valid. This is a team book. This is the structure.
Yeah.
But like Tyler said, like, this is 3 of them in a row in the same line.
Yeah.
Well, the Avengers. Well, I guess just in general, like Marvel.
It's dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
they have an Iceman book. They have a Nightcrawler book. Like, there are solo books in the line too that maybe you could have spaced these out more strategically.
Like, even if we were also reading Jed McKay's Avengers #1, like, that would have been different enough for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
and I would argue you should be able to do a team book differently. Like, a structure exists, yes, but it would be nice to see somebody try to change the structure of it.
yeah, the best I can say is that the dynamic of Dark X-Men is interesting.
Yeah.
The conflict in Alpha Flight could get me to issue 2 with mild complaints.
Yeah.
And no thoughts on Uncanny Avengers.
Dan here's like, I don't think it's asking too much to want a different first team book structure. That's fair. But like, I think it's gonna deviate and distinguish itself as it goes on. Like, this is the framework, right? That you kind of need to swallow. It's like the beginning of any other shonen manga, right?
But that's the problem. That's what I'm saying.
But that it's going to differentiate down the line. Like, I'm not gonna give it the the gripe for how it's built because of the way that's the way the structure works.
They all have to start from point A, where they
Yeah.
go from there.
Is where I'm gonna dictate the quality
Sure.
from that point. This works as a solid book. The premise gets interesting, or the premise introduced can be interesting. I'm looking forward to see where it goes from there.
Okay, so a reader like me gets these three books, has the same problem. That's three number twos that aren't going to be picked up.
Fair, yeah. I think that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like they don't do like you're right, but they, that structure means they could also do something unique.
Sure. Yeah.
I will say it's nice to see that both Monet St. Croix and Maria St. Croix and Emplate are in there. Gen X, great book. So
Just man, I wish I knew what you were talking about.
So
Emplate's the vampire looking dude with the big nose thing, and
All right.
Chris Bacalo on Gen X. Like that's like good '90s X-Men there.
Yeah. Chris Bacall rules. What book was that?
Gen X, Generation X.
No, sorry. In
Emplate was in Dark X-Men, and Penance was in Uncanny Avengers. Also
yes,
known as
okay.
Monet.
All right.
But she was in the red form. Sorry, I'm geeking out right now. I'm geeking out. Let's talk about some non-superhero books for a second. Let's get into Kelly Thompson's new book with the Cull #1. This is by Kelly Thompson with art by Matteo De Ulis, letters by Hassan. Marco, do you know how to pronounce Hassan's last name? I hate
Hassan
that.
Otsman El How.
There we go. Thank you. That's much better than I can. But yeah, so this is the or at least Matteo De Ulis on colors and art, and Kelly Thompson. They worked on Jessica Jones when Marvel was doing that weird thing where like they were releasing digital shorter issues and then physical print issues that collected those digital issues into bigger things. I forget the initiative was called. It was pretty much with like the Marvel Knights line for a bit. But that was a damn good Jessica Jones book.
Yeah.
And Matteo De Ulis was also on I think Jane Foster's Valkyrie book when Aaron and Goran Tronbeck were on that. Mattia is insane. This was my pick of the week easily for this week.
I think it was mine too.
I think this is strangely another team book in a way, but it's a much more organic
I do have
way
things
they
to say.
Yeah, it was a little more organic in the way they kind of get together. It's very much, it has the feel of it's I don't want to say Stranger Things, but like that whole '80s high schoolers or college kids get together, something bad happens, and things go wrong. It's little Stand By Me, Monster Squad. Like it is a trope, but it's a trope I enjoy. I enjoy like ensemble pieces like that, and I like how the cast is not too big to the point where like I already know who everyone is. Like I know we talk about Nice House on the Lake as like a poor example of that. This is the opposite. Like everyone is visually distinct, first of all.
Yeah.
And their names are kind of catchy too. Like Wade and Will and Cleo. Like enough where I'm like, yeah, that rings in my head. I can get that. That is I think a good thing for a writer to do. Yeah, I like this a lot, especially since I also have no idea where it's going.
That first splash page that we get was an interesting way to kind of like grab the attention. Just okay, we know they're thinking about doing something, or this is the setting, and then monster. Okay, you got me. I want to figure this out now, and then we go into a little bit of slice of life and what's going on with these individual characters. I thought that immediacy of just introduce this larger concept that we're probably not going to visit. It almost feels like some kind of like cosmic horror stuff, Lovecrafty and whatnot. So I dug that a lot.
The sequences where they're introducing the characters, and they're all being introduced by them leaving their house with either their parents or whatever, some of them sneaking out or whatever. A lot of the character work is not in the writing. I was kind of poring over those pages and picking out like, oh,
Yeah.
I can see the character dynamics just by the facial work, just by the way characters look at each other, by backgrounds, by clippings on a fridge or on a wall. Like, I was kind of picking out individual things here that I was just eating up. And I'm like, oh, this is character work, but from a refrigerator. You know what I mean? Like, I thought, like, and the way Mattia de Ulis works with faces is nuts.
Yeah.
It almost looked like actors on a page. It's
all
without being photo
so-
referencey at all.
So clear though.
Yeah. Yeah. And the facial shadows too. Like, you know where the light source is at every single point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really well done.
It's I don't know how to explain that. It is just really, really well done.
It's well rendered. Like all of it's well rendered. I read this with we get the Image book, which we call it
the reviews?
the reviews for that.
Same.
So the quality is a little degraded, but even through that, like even through some of that pixelation, I'm like, oh no, I can see like the precision of the posture of stuff like hair falling down. Excellent work.
Even like I have a page up right now. Like, even just noticing like Cleo's fingernail polish is just not like she hasn't done her nails in a while.
Yeah.
Like, that alone is just like, all right, well, she's not taking care of herself because she's a little messed up somehow. Like, none of that is through people talking.
Yep.
I thought it was expertly done, this issue. I loved it.
And it doesn't feel slow. At no point did I feel like I'm getting dragged along on this. Like, because of the way that the art paced out the story, it felt like, okay, we're getting 2 pages of this person, 2 pages of this person, 2 pages of this person, and it's brief enough that I can flow into the next one seamlessly. But there's so much detail in the art that it feels like I'm getting a lot of information, even though maybe not a lot's happening on the page.
And not just from the art either, like the dialogue and the things that are happening.
Yeah.
It's fed to you in a good way. Like, the pacing here is very, very good as well.
Yeah.
You always get the right amount of information at the right time.
And I think one of them was it was with the dad was talking about something, and it was like the daughter was like, "Oh, you're only saying I can go because Wade's gonna be there," and we don't know who that is, but it goes right to the next page, introduces us to Wade right away.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, but it doesn't even tell us that. It's just like it's just understood as you go through it. Like, even for a first issue, it's not like everyone's being named constantly or anything like that, where it becomes noticeable. You know.
Yeah.
The dynamics
feels
are
very
already kind of stated. Good.
It feels very Goonies.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
beginning of
very much.
Goonies, how they kind of go through all the kids' houses and we see them interact, as they do.
You get a little parent dynamic in the beginning too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They go into a cave.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the problem I have with this book is it suffers from the Image first issue.
Sure.
What do you mean?
Not enough weird stuff happens to hook me here.
What, page 2?
It's a giant monster.
That's just any
Like,
Steve Orlando
how
book.
many giant monster books? Oh, how many Image books open with a giant monster on page 2?
Dang, I don't know.
To be fair, I'm not reading a lot of Image books right now, so
Like, and then we get all this character stuff, which is great. I'm not trying to take away from that at all. But the giant monster stuff, and then it's not a time skip, but the going back in time, and then
yeah.
the character stuff happens 12 hours after before
Before, yeah.
Right. Okay.
the monster, the crab, and then the end reveal that this cave goes to a whole nother world is a bit like everything else. I need, I need a little bit more.
I feel like the Image #1 at this point has the same structure as a first episode of a TV show.
And it needs more. The first episode of a TV show needs more.
Fair.
It's the first 10 minutes of a TV show. Like, you're lucky to get, an inciting incident in the first issue of an Image book.
Or TV, really. Usually the
TV.
season finale is the inciting incident. Yeah.
Like, I need just a little bit more to give me that taste of something come back to, They're in this cool new world. Great. What's there?
We'll find out. That's the
That's not going to get me to issue 2.
what? That's the perfect setup.
In my head, this wasn't even like, all right, I'm ready for issue 2. It's like, no, I'm in.
Yeah.
This one sold me enough where I'm like, I'm in. To be fair, I'm not trying to kiss ass here, but I'm a huge Kelly Thompson mark. Like, there's been few books of Kelly Thompson that I have not read. So,
and again, I'm not criticizing Kelly here. Like, I really enjoyed the character work. I do think, the art, again, is absolutely incredible. This is a problem I have with Image books.
do you think it's an edict at Image, maybe?
Sorry?
Do you think this is like an edict at Image? This is how one should be? Because they're so involved with the first trade,
I don't know if I would say it's an edict, but I think it's an Image formula.
Yeah.
That we see happen over and over and over again.
Is it a pull, though?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So you'd have no issue with this if every Image book didn't also do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Or even if I could get 2 more pages of something else.
Well, I guess Black Cloak was good in that way because it was double
Yeah.
double
Yeah.
size.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Absolutely. I loved Black Cloak.
Same. Very good.
And I think that having more pages, to your point, Kale, makes sense to be able to provide a fuller experience for a first issue. You get that time to really decompress and focus on the things that are narratively important, but also things that will entice readers beyond that. Yeah, that's fair.
Atomic Hound says, I'm going with a pull on this to at least try. Yeah, dude, I don't think you can go wrong with at least trying this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't hear my complaint as this is this book only and that makes it bad. This book looks incredible. The dialogue and the pacing are top notch. Kelly Thompson is on fire here.
Do a good
So I
job.
better put her out.
You-
Jeez.
You want to get this book. You know what? Despite my bitching, pick of the week.
It wouldn't be a Kale discussion without a little bit of a, what do you say it over there? Whinging?
Whinging. Yeah.
Whinging, yeah. Joel Anderson commented, Tyler, your drip is fresh. I'm going to keep that one up there and block Marco's name.
I was
thank-
going to say
thank
your
Joel.
glasses look good.
Oh, yeah, they're new. I buy direct.
Nice. There
Nice
you
and
go. Zenny. So
Oh, okay.
I've had the same glasses for almost 10 years.
I lose mine constantly, so.
you should check up on your prescription.
I have a new prescription.
Oh, then
It's not a prescription issue.
Let's talk about Batman Superman World's Finest number 18.
Wait! Before we did, on that last splash page, did you guys notice that the text box or the speech bubble that comes out of that rock, all of the stuff behind it have similar shapes, and so I think this is an interdimensional portal.
I mean, the way that it looked, I was assuming interdimensional already.
No, but all of those other rocks, there are other portals because they look the same.
I see what you mean. I see. God, I wish the Image the Image review copies were in better quality.
Yeah. But they all have the same shape, the same sort of
I
layouts.
see what you mean. Okay.
It looks like they're
almost
duplicated out.
I see. Interesting. Well, I'm going to keep reading, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
But it's a pull for me. Pull for you, Marco, I'm assuming. Easily.
Yeah, hard pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
So let's talk about Batman Superman World's Finest, number 18, The Secret Origin of the World's Finest Team. This is by Mark Waid, art by Travis Moore, colors by Tamara Bonvion, and letters by Steve Wands. Are you guys reading this?
No, and this was fine.
Kale, are you reading World's Finest?
I would like to be before this. Yes.
I do recommend it before this.
Yeah. I
so-
know. From what we've read of it, I know it's right up my alley. Yeah.
It's on the app.
One-
It's on the app now.
The previous arc. So I'm up to date on this. The previous arc was all of the robots and cyborgs and any kind of like robot-y type thing in the DC universe kind of being corrupted, which they like GI Robot showed up. Like that's how nuts it was.
Yeah.
But instead, this issue does not have Dan Mora art, which is a bummer. And that's nothing against, Travis Moore. I think Travis Moore is good. But
Yeah.
I don't envy having to follow up Dan Mora.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
Dan Mora was kind of the draw for me, honestly. Mark Waid writing DC again, great. He's doing it for 18 issues at this point, though. Like that bit's kind of gone. But Dan Mora is great, and I agree. MP in the chat said World's Finest might be the best monthly DC superhero book. I don't disagree. I've been loving it every single month.
Yeah.
But then Atomic Count also says, here we go with the 10th first meeting of Superman and Batman.
Yeah,
And that was my issue with this. I'm tired of that.
Not probably like the 100th.
Yeah.
And also, it's got to be like the 100th that Mark Waid has done.
I
in
don't
the exact
disagree,
same
yeah.
way. Like,
It's, all right. This again.
Yeah.
Because once we do this, like, I can't help but get, like, comic book continuity nerd. Like, it just happens.
Yep.
And it just starts annoying me.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how good the book. Like, I love the way Mark Waid has a voice for this era of these characters, especially his Superman. I love Mark Waid's Superman, and I like how he has a Batman that's kind of pre Dark Knight Batman, where he can kind of be a little goofy, and I enjoy that. And that's still here. It's good, but I don't care about the first meeting anymore. It's boring. Like the bit where Gordon thinks Batman's behind him, but it's Superman. Like I've seen that.
Yeah.
Before. That's a thing. They did it in the Snyderverse movie. Like.
Yep.
So that was my only real gripe with this. It's just like, why, really?
Yeah. And the way they, their identities are revealed to each other is just very.
Yeah.
What's
It was like
the
giving you someone your
point?
phone number. Like.
Well,
Yeah.
But hold on. If this is does this happen anytime that they interact, Tyler? Like anytime that they meet, they have to meet again?
See, that question alone is why this confuses me.
Because
It's anytime there's a Batman Superman book, there's gonna be an issue where they meet.
But if in the same series they've done so, to your point, Tyler, like the continuity of it, then like over the course of the series, I'm wasting like 5 pages on introductions every single issue.
They're not being
Or every-
constantly introduced every single arc.
Okay.
Pretty much early on, it was just established like, all right, it's early on in their careers, but they know each other.
Yeah.
This is the first time in this series that they are meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So maybe it's there to establish this series and where that is, but like I don't think you need it. It's unnecessary
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
Like if you want to tell me a
Because
cool Riddler and what's the villain's name? This Jack Sir. Like if you want to tell me that
Discount
story, that's fine.
Yeah.
But does it need to be their first meeting? I don't think so.
I don't totally get what benefit this has.
Right.
What this might be pessimistic, but MP says it's a flashback story. Yeah, I understand that. But
I mean,
every
aren't they
one of
all?
these is a flashback story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it just this is rude, but this feels like, all right, Dan Mora needs to bank some issues. What do you got?
Could be something for that.
You know, not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty fine issue, but it is not as good as the rest of the series that I've been enjoying.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also hampered by stuff between the two characters that we've seen before.
In what way?
Bruce figuring out Clark is Superman, and
Oh, sure.
and the other way around, and like you said earlier, the Gordon thinking it's Batman behind him, but it's Superman. And
Although the way Batman in this discovers Superman's identity is the most obvious thing ever, and how does nobody else figure that out? Like,
yeah, it's just stuff we've all seen before, and that hampers the book.
Yeah,
this story in particular.
I will say the Tamara Bonvillain colors are really nice.
Yeah.
It's like in this perpetual dusk or dawn where everything's kind of ambery. The city is ambery. Like Gotham does not feel dirty. And maybe that's to kind of feel like the pre-Dark Knight Gotham. This is Silver Age, Bronze Age era. So it isn't really dirty at this point.
That was one piece that usually I'm a big fan of Tamara's work, but in this one, because it had that consistency of like that you described it really well, dusk, right? It just has this overcast over it. I didn't feel like she was able to be as dynamic as she can sometimes be, especially when she was doing like Mora stuff.
I mean, I think once we see the Phantom Zone more, I think she's gonna have some ability to play around for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I am interested in that. I am interested to see what Batman in the Phantom Zone is like, because I don't know if I've read that. So potential. And Atomic Count says, despite the legit critique, I'd still recommend it. So would I. I think World's Finest is top 3
Great
DC books that are coming out right now.
Yeah. The art, like, even though, and no disrespect, like, it's not Dan Mora, but it's not bad at all.
No, it's not.
Travis Moore, his art's very clear. It's very stylized in a very similar way, while still maintaining his own flair and figures.
He does he's like on the non-Bruno Redondo Nightwing issues, I believe. He kind of switches back and forth.
Okay.
With, again, rough guy to have to follow up on, but, but Travis Moore is that good. Like, where, like, it still fits.
Yep.
I'd still say it's a pull for me. Also, Magpie and Spellbinder in it, Magpie. Like, I love shitty DC characters. Her hair is insane.
For as much as I wasn't a fan of it, I can see the structure and how it works. So, yeah. Not a pull for me, but I can see why.
I do recommend the previous issues. It's very good. Very good stuff. There's some Kingdom Come crossover, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Magog.
Read it.
All right.
Read it. I don't want to spoil anything.
I think I'm gonna pass because I just don't need another secret origin of Superman, Batman.
That's fine. Secret Origins is the DC thing, right? That term.
I mean, I believe it was a title at some point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd say it's a pull. But those are our books this week. That's what we read. So we got 2 Culls and 1 Uncanny Avengers for pick of the week. Is that fair? Yep. Yeah. So those are our books. If you guys want to decide what we should do for listener book, like we did for Dark X-Men, tomorrow that poll will be up. I don't know who's. Am I supposed to do that tomorrow with Sean gone? I don't know. Figure it out. But that'll be up on the YouTube community tab, so check that out for there. But guys, if you have anything for this next segment, let me know now. But there's some other stuff that I read. I also read the finale of Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto's Daredevil.
Oh,
nice.
Sticks the landing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it weird? Yes. I think the penultimate issue was the really weird one.
Interesting.
If you're not up to date on it, it takes a turn, and does some weird stuff, that I don't really want to spoil. but I will say it's Chichetto doing it, so just go along for the ride.
I genuinely I think I'm gonna collect this run. I'm
In
not a
singles.
big God no.
Okay.
I'm not a big like I like Daredevil obviously, but I'm not a big a Daredevil follower or whatever. I think this might be the one that breaks that.
You have enough religious guilt in your real life.
Yo, you're
you don't
telling
need
me.
a book.
I'd give anything to ditch that and go be a ninja on a mountain somewhere. Take my wife and just go fight ninjas.
Yeah, fight and screw. That's all he does. Fight, screws, and thanks God. So I love Daredevil. That's why I have a Daredevil tattoo. It's my boy. This would be a good collection to get. I think so.
Yeah.
My favorite Daredevil run is still Mark Waid's.
Yeah, I need to read that.
Which might be a hot take actually, but I still think this is some of Zdarsky's best stuff. It's right up there with Howard the Duck for me. I say that unironically.
I've heard it's very, very good.
Yeah.
Maybe I've heard that from you too many times, but
You might have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome there. Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, guys, if you're reading this, let's talk about it in the Discord. If you have thoughts on it in the Discord, let me know.
Yeah.
Hound really liked Night Terror Superman this week.
Interesting. Night Terror Superman. I have not been getting... So I've only been getting select Night Terrors tie-ins. I've downloaded the Zatanna one and the Angel Breaker one.
Oh, really?
I like the design of Angel Breaker in Lazarus Planet and the Robin stuff. She's a new character, and I just like seeing new characters get little miniseries because it's like, all right. That's why I read that Hollow's Eve book.
Something up.
You know.
Okay.
But Kale froze. All right, he looks like he's just searching. But yeah, that's what I'm reading this week. But we also have some polls for next week. Let's see. I will be checking out Immortal Thor #1. This is by, I guess, friend of the show at this point. Ooh, Al Ewing. Art by Martin Kokolo. Matthew Wilson on colors. This is Al doing the Immortal Thor stuff, Immortal Hulk kind of thing for Thor, in which I feel like is not getting enough buzz. Like, I'm legitimately excited for this.
Is he? Because he typically does cosmic stuff. Is he like bringing him into?
Are you saying Thor does cosmic stuff?
No, Ewing. So is it going to be
Not
more...
really. Immortal Hulk wasn't really cosmic. It got almost Lovecraftian at a point, but it was still on
But
Earth.
that's like, but that's like his now corner of Marvel, yeah.
I don't. Maybe. I mean, it's Thor, so it's probably going to be very, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be in Asgard, presumably, and all that. Who knows where that's going to be? But it's also got all these Alex Ross covers too, which does not hurt it. And I also wanted to check out Penguin #1. This is by Tom King and Roberto De La Torre. I forgot Tom King was doing a Penguin book. This feels like one of those, like, all right, they're just letting Tom King do what he wants.
Yeah.
Which this could be. This could be Rorschach. Could be Heroes in Crisis. You know what I mean?
He said
So-
no.
We'll see. I'm up to date on what's that other book he's
Danger
doing?
Street.
Danger Street. Yeah. Which is it's gaining traction now, and I'm really enjoying it.
But it took a while, yeah, to like get to a certain point. I feel
It
like I
kind
remember
of had that
him
Tom King thing where it's like you got to hit the halfway point for it to realize what the story is.
Right.
You know?
right.
Come on.
Okay.
I know
Hey,
it's not your thing, Cal.
It
but
works though.
I just like, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, how are you gonna make people wait 7 issues?
Yeah, it was like 6 issues before like literally the entire cast actually meets up.
Like, what are we doing?
It helps when Tom King has really good artists. So.
Yeah, fair.
So we'll see what this is. Although I don't, that whoever that is on the cover, it looks nothing like the Penguin. But we'll see.
Can't imagine it's
Marco,
a Penguin.
finale of Dark Knights of Steel, #12,
Is this the finale?
final issue. Finally,
No. Oh, don't. All right, I didn't know that. Now I'm sad. Damn.
It's a good book.
It's such a good book, dude. I haven't read 11, so I'm only on 10 at the moment. So I need
Oh,
to
you
just
get double the fun next week.
yeah, yeah. I was waiting for it. I'm waiting for that. So damn. Okay. Well,
Oh, sorry for me to piss in your Cheerios today, but
appreciate it. Right here, right in this cup. Thank you.
I am also reading this, so I will be checking this out as well. The Yasmin Putri art, she's
Oh,
killing it on this. Gorgeous.
phenomenal. I can't believe she's not done stuff before, and I hope that they
She
bring her
hasn't?
back to do like for my understanding is for this is her first DC work.
It's possible. It looks like she's done some like stuff here or there. No, she's done some other. She's done some like Daphne Byrne stuff for DC apparently. So
She's
been
Daphne
around.
Byrne.
The book to
Maybe for colors.
save
Though, I don't know.
comics.
That's crazy.
We'll see. It's good looking though. It's a good book.
Incredible. She
And
needs to come
then
back.
something called Xeno #2.
Oh, so Zeno is a
Oni
the
book.
person. Yeah, an Oni press book. The person doing the covers. Um, I I really enjoy the art. Oh my god, now I'm blanking on the name. I have a piece of his Swamp Thing on my wall.
Only a piece.
Matt Lesniewski. He's
Oh yeah.
one of my favorite things is if you look at any of the pieces of his art, you're gonna see so many different techniques of inking being used at the same time. So he'll be able to do like full blacks. He'll do stuff that's a bit scratched out. He'll do different shading. He'll like have it's just all over the place in terms of what he does from a shading perspective. And previously, I really like his like dynamicism. His bodies are lanky. They're kind of stretchy. Things feel like they flow. And so he's recently added this extra layer of shading into his work that I think just continues to elevate the stuff that he does. I think it gives it a bit more of a like fuller feel where previously he was inking a bit more simply and now there's just a lot of complexity to it. So I love his work and he's to my knowledge only doing the covers.
Yeah.
And so based on that alone, the fact that he's only doing the covers, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll pick up the book.
It's a cool cover. Yeah.
Yeah, date on this book too. That's cool.
Yeah, by Justin Jordan.
Justin Jordan writing it too. Yeah. Kale, you want to check out Newburn #10? More Zdarsky.
Yeah. I love a crime book. Love a detective book.
Jacob Phillips
Yeah,
is on
still
this
here
too.
for this. Yeah, Jacob Phillips. I enjoy what he's doing, and the backup for this section is done by David Brothers
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
from Mangasplaining?
from Mangasplaining, editor at Viz, I
Image.
believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really exciting.
I always find it funny when like I'm thinking about like Zdarsky's career currently and where he is, and it's like, oh, this was the sex criminals artist. Like that's how
Yeah.
we got introduced to this guy.
This is the dude that
Drew orgasms.
used to have conversations with Applebee's on Facebook.
Yep. Yeah. And then surprising no one, Kale, you also want to check out Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #111.
This is the beginning of the darkest hour. It's a monumental 12-month event.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Mistress Vile has won. I believe this is Melissa Flores, Simona de Jean-Felice.
Dijon?
Dijon-Felice.
All right. You can't be the first one talking about food, Marco. Come on. It's my gig.
Yeah, hey, listen, Power Rangers event, I'm here.
Who's Mistress Vile?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, and it doesn't matter because I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah.
It just sounds like Rita Repulsa's daughter or something, you know? Yeah.
Let me look. And
But hey,
see
you're still
if,
reading these Power Rangers books, so must be pretty good.
Oh, it's Rita Repulsa.
Oh, is it?
Oh, Rita Repulsa revealed how she became Mistress Vile.
Oh, so I was not that far off. Look at me. Look at me,
So,
Power Rangers guy over here.
So you can tell that I am not reading the books. I didn't know that.
But the want is there.
The dream is there, yeah, and it's an event, so if it's good, it will. If it's good, it will make me go back.
Yeah, and if it's good, it should be a
frickin',
jumping on point as well.
Freaking breaking the grid or whatever, shattered grid
Yeah.
made me pick up the whole line, and I don't regret it. So
Well, those are the books we're talking about, guys. So you could follow us at all the socials that are up there. I got to change that Twitter icon still because it's X now.
get rid of it.
Still full of horrible human beings, though. So you can follow us on YouTube, where you can get everything. All the junk that we do is on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. Follow us on TikTok. If you want a little bite-sized version of us while you're scrolling through your videos of goth women, you can check out Instagram. We do stuff on Instagram as well. Or we're on Threads and Blue Sky as well. I don't know how to put Blue Sky's icon up there because their app icon is horrendous.
It's garbage.
It is
I downloaded the app today, and I'm
worst
like, what
app
the fuck
icon
is
I've
this?
ever seen in my life. It is literally a PNG of the Windows 98 background. It looks like, maybe do some actual design. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Jack, come on.
Please.
I'll do it for you. I'll design it for you. I've read enough X-Men books. I might have absorbed a little bit of Muellerisms. Who knows? But yeah, follow us on all the socials. You can follow. We'll see you Saturday for the show. I won't be here. I will be going to an oddities convention in Philadelphia, so that's where I will be.
Ooh, something music related. That's all I ask.
They have. I can get like a jackalope taxidermy there, or some jars and brains, or brains and jars.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a convention full of oddities.
Can we,
you
like,
you could buy a taxidermy of like a calf with 2 heads.
Is there like
there's some
a bone flute or a skin flute?
Maybe. Oh, there's no skin flute. Skin flute is something else, Marco. I don't think you're allowed to sell a couple things here, Marco. Let's break this one down. Skin flute is a penis. That's what that is. If somebody ever told you, hey, you play the skin flute, don't say yes unless you do. Then it's fine. But I mean,
No shame in it.
You suken the dick. Or if it's a skin thing, we stopped doing that years ago. We don't do that anymore. That's human flesh. It's a taboo thing. But I think there's one vendor that might be doing Pokemon taxidermy, like crypto taxidermy. So like there's like a fake Venomoth in a thing. So I'll be seeing if they're there. I think they were there for one of the stops of this convention tour. I don't know if they're going to be there for this stop, but
Is there a site?
the Oddities convention. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll text you after the show. You
Talking
can't
about
mail
the
the show
skin
now too.
flute, we lost Hound, so I guess we better wrap it up.
Yeah. So that's the show, guys. We will see you Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time, right here, where we're going to be talking about something. So,
Things.
all right.